Hey there, how are you? In this video, I'm going to address a question I got from one of the readers of my book asking how to start a car wash. And actually, car washes are a great business. It's one of the things that are on the rise because guess what? People have less and less time. And, you know, I wanted to say people are more and more affluent, but they're actually not. But they certainly have less and less time. And what you want to do is open the gas station in an affluent neighborhood, because then you'll get the best of both worlds, right? They're busy people, they don't have time, they have nice cars, they need them clean. Perfect. You can open a gas station in a couple of ways. You can buy one and take one over an existing one. That's a really good way to go because you don't have to do any of the remodeling or very minor. You don't have to, I mean, it's all there for you, right? It's already been a car wash, so you're set. What you can also do is open a franchise, so they'll take care of the marketing for you and it will be a big brand instead of mom and pop. And so that big brand will carry trust with it. People won't know it's just a franchise. People will think, oh, big brand, immediate familiarity, immediate trust. So that's going to be very important. You should also, research competition in particular areas because, as I noted, the good areas are affluent areas, okay? With a lot of, in places, you want to be in places where there's a lot of traffic also because one of your biggest marketing strategies will be to have these big great signs saying, hey, car wash here, $9.99 or $19.99 depending on where you are and what the prices are. But, discount, blah, 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 come here now, get your car clean, blah, blah, blah. But that's going to be your signs, right? You have to have great big signs and they're only going to be effective if people see them. So you got to be in areas with high traffic. Otherwise, the drivers won't know, right? So affluent areas with high traffic and not many other car washes nearby. That's the ideal spot. As you start to kind of get closer to, getting more serious about this, you will kind of figure out, you will quickly see what the cost will be, right? You will see what, it's going to cost, how many people you'll need to hire, what hours of the day you'll need to work, all those sorts of things. And, what licenses you might need and permits, and all those things, you should note them down in something called a cash flow statement. And before you start, you only have cash flows. Cash flow usually measures cash flow in and out, but before you start, you will only have cash flow out. So, but you certainly want to measure it and keep track of it because then you'll know how much money you need to raise. Because that's one of the most difficult things to start this business is to raise the money because it's not cheap. You need the property, you need a lease, you need, or to buy the property or to get a long lease. Because commercial leases, they tend to be longer than, regular leases. So once you know how much money you'll need to raise, you'll have to raise that money. It's challenging for this business because guess what? You're not getting donations, you're not getting grants. There's not a whole lot of fundraising options for this business. A lot of it is from your savings or maybe partnering with somebody who has money. Some people like to take loans to start this kind of a business. I never recommend loans because it's super risky. And especially banks tend to not loan to companies which have not started. It's very challenging. So you'd have to get some kind of a loan from some less reputable place, and they're not necessarily bad. But all in all, loan is probably my least favorite option because it's too much risk. You're probably better off not doing the loan and probably better off figuring out how much money you need to save or how to get a partner for this. I do have a fundraising course with a bunch of strategies. Some might work. I'll post the link to it in the description of the video so you can check it out. I also have a book on the same topic. It might or might not, some of the options there might help you. There's a ton of suggestions there. But ultimately, it's going to be about savings and partnering with people who have money, possibly, although partnering has its own pros and cons. So that's its own sort of can of worms. But and my course will add a bunch of ways to supplement your fundraising, to add other strategies to it. But it isn't easy. It isn't easy with this business. It's a big barrier to entry. So anyway, but don't mean to ruin to spoil your enthusiasm. Stay optimistic. But anyway, that's kind of the thing. Those are the kind of things that you should consider. Oh no, it's a good business actually, because you know, in affluent areas, you know, people don't have time and they need their cars clean, and they, you know, especially if it's an area where a lot of people drive, it's an ideal business. Like, you know, while technology for cars is consistently evolving, cars always have to be clean, right? So it's like a mechanic will go crazy keeping up with new technologies and learning everything, but for car wash, you don't need that, right? So another thing you want to consider that I almost forgot. Lastly, you want to consider the kind of car wash you want to start. There's a full service, which typically make the most amount of money. There's self-service, which typically make the least amount of money. Then there's the conveyor belt ones, which they kind of in the middle. They kind of fall in the middle. So there's different kinds. They each requires a different amount of space. Each requires a different amount of technology. So definitely consider what might make sense for you in terms of startup costs, what you ultimately envision for yourself, and you know, certainly the full service ones are the best in terms of financial potential, because you can upsell a whole bunch of things, right? Because upsell this, upsell that. You know, the people have to kind of wait outside and they have nothing to do, so they buy snacks, they buy this, they buy that, they explore your inventory, right? So anyway, the most money comes with the full service ones, but also you need the most space for it, and you know, there's some considerations, but certainly the thing that, like I said, the thing that's going to make the most money is the full service.